Good morning. Welcome to this second virtual assembly. My name's David. I'm Vicar of St James and St Peter's Church in Yeovil. Give us a wave if you're watching. If you're watching a recording of this stream, we're about 5 minutes into you just watching a candle. But it's great to see you all today. How are you feeling today? Give us a. What should we do? Well, just tell you what. Once I've said my name to you, if you'll shout out your name to me so I can hear who's watching. So my name's David. Shout out your name on the count of three if you're watching me now. So 1, 2, 3. Not sure I could hear that. Let's have another go. So my name's David. Your turn. 1, 2, 3. Wow. I think maybe the whole of Manor heard you there. So great. Thanks for tuning in. On Monday, we looked at a story about how God made light and God made everything. And today, we're looking at a story of a family who had to self-isolate for not 13 days, not 13 weeks, but 13 months. 13 months, just imagine. Isn't it strange at the moment how we're all having to stay in? You can go out once a day for your exercise. Some of you can still go to school because of the jobs that mums and dads do. But for most of the time, we have to stay in our houses. We have to stay away from people, and it feels really strange, doesn't it? It can feel a bit lonely. Some people love it. It's like, oh, great, I can get the Lego out and I can play for Lego all the time. But for others of us who really like seeing people, really like being with people, it's really, really tricky. So here's a story about the family of Noah, and they were stuck in their home for a year. So if you're struggling after a day or two, just imagine what they felt like. So here's the story. Many, many years passed. And after so much time, many of the people living on the earth chose not to care about God anymore. They no longer taught their children to thank God. Over and over again, they chose to hurt and lie and do wrong. God looked at the people and he grew very sad. He saw all the pain that they caused each other. He wished he'd never created people with the rest of the animals on the earth. God decided that he would do something to make a new start. At this time, when so many people were bad, one man was different. His name was Noah. He often asked for God's help. Noah listened for God's answers and then obeyed him, and this pleased God. God told Noah, I'm going to put an end to everything and start again. I'm going to cause a huge flood to cover the land, but I'll spare you and those you love. Now, build a big boat. Build it the way I say and fill it with 2 of every type of animal. Fill it with food, then you'll be safe. Noah trusted God, and God gave Noah the plans for making the boat, which was called an ark. When the ark was finished, Noah's family climbed in and left the doors open. Soon animals and birds and all creeping creatures came crawling their way into Noah's ark. What a sight it was! And the noise was enough to bring Noah's neighbours out to watch and shake their heads at him all over again. There were lions roaring, donkeys braying, dogs barking, birds singing, and sheep bleating. 2 by 2, the animals entered the ark, all different types and shapes and sizes. Tiny worms wiggled, horses pranced, and rabbits hopped. I bet it was really noisy in there. I'll tell you what, think in your heads just to think of yourself of an animal noise. Think of an animal that might have been in the ark and a noise that it might make. And then when I count to 3, I want you to all make the animal noise together. Okay? And I'll make an animal noise here as well. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, go. There you go. You see me doing an impression of a chicken. All right, shush again. If you're making lots of noise, let's hear the rest of the story. So all the animals were inside the ark, and God closed the door to the boat and locked it so no one would fall out. And then it began to rain. So there's a picture of maybe what it was like with all the animals going in and Noah and the weather starting to close in. It rained and it rained, and it rained and it rained and it rained and it rained and it rained. Do you remember that? A few weeks ago, we were all worried about the rain. The water poured out of the sky for 40 days and 40 nights, and the rains fell. The ark rose higher and higher. The water lifted it right up over the mountains. The land flooded, and there was nowhere to live anywhere. The water was all over the world. And the days dragged into weeks, and Noah and his family stayed inside, and the sun couldn't shine through the dark rain clouds. But God did not forget his promise. When 40 days were over, God sent a wind, and the rain stopped. Noah woke up to darkness. Something was different. Then he knew he could hear the waves slapping on the sides of the great boat. Always the sound of rain had kept him from hearing the waves, but the rain had stopped. It's over. The flood is over. Thank God for ending the storm. But even so, it was months before the land was dry enough to let the animals out. They tossed their heads and made even more noise leaving than they had when they got on. Shrieking and snorting, mooing and mewing, 2 by 2, they charged down the gangplank and made their way across the land. Noah and his family thanked God for taking care of them. When Noah heard their thanks, he promised never again to destroy all living creatures. God looked for every colour he could find and built the first rainbow. As a sign of my promise, never to flood the earth again, I have set my rainbow in the clouds. That's a story from this children's Bible. If you've got one of these at home, you can look at the story again and look at the pictures again. There's the ark with all the floods and all the rainwater around it. Now, a lot of you have put rainbows in your windows, like this. You've done lovely pictures, and there's rainbows all around the estate. And I'm going to pop this one in my window when I finish this assembly, because the rainbow's a sign of God keeping his promises. God says, no matter how bad anything gets, I will rescue you. I'll get you through. I'll keep my promise. That even with rain, God sends the rain, the water that washes everything away. You know, like you're having to wash your hands at the moment and count to 20 or sing happy birthday, or I'm saying the Lord's Prayer, which we'll say in a bit, washing away the virus, washing away the germs. And God sent the rain to wash away all the bad stuff on the earth. But God's promise is that, yes, he'll wash the bad stuff away, but also that difficult times will come to an end, and God's rainbow is a sign of his promise, a sign that God keeps his promise. God promises that he'll never leave us alone. God promises that when we call out to him, he'll answer us. God promises that if we trust him and if we love him, that he'll always be with us and that he'll hear our prayers. God promises that if we put him first, he'll provide what we need, and so on. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of promises in the Bible. And the rainbow is a reminder that God keeps his promise. And the rainbow only happens, if you know how they work, it only happens when you've got light and rain. You've got the light that we were talking about on Monday that shines in the darkness, God being with us even in the darkest times. But you've also got the rain, getting rid of all the bad stuff. And when you've got that combination, God and turning away from bad stuff, then you get the rainbow and you get the promise. So I'm going to say a little prayer now. Then we're going to do the Lord's Prayer with sign language, which I did on Monday. And then we'll do the mealtime prayer with the actions as well. I'll remind you what they are. And then you might be able to have your lunch or go out and enjoy the sunshine in your garden or go for a lovely walk or bike ride with your family. So here's a little prayer. Dear God, thank you for the rainbow. Thank you that you're a God who keeps your promises. Thank you that even though we're feeling shut in now, that, Lord, this will end. So help us to trust you. Please look after the people that we care about. Please especially be with anybody who's ill and anybody who's caring for them. And please help us all to get through this together, to look after each other and to trust you. Amen. Okay, if you were watching on Monday, we did the Lord's Prayer, which is a special prayer that Jesus taught his followers, and we did it in sign language. So I'm going to say it today. I'll say it really slowly, so copy what I say if you know the words, copy the signs if you can remember them, or if you just want to follow them on the screen a bit behind me, then that's great as well. Okay, so are you ready? Have you got your hands ready? Got your hands ready. Great. So here we go. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come. Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For yours is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Great. Thank you for joining in with that. And finally, a little prayer to say thank you for food, because I'm sure some of you are about to go and have your lunch. So we have the sign for food, which is that. The drink, which is that. The family, you make a little F with your fingers and you stir it around. And then praised, which is lots of thumbs up going up to God. Okay. So the prayer goes, I'll say it once, then we'll say it through together. For food and drink and family, God's holy name be praised. Amen. Shall we do that together? For food and drink and family, God's holy name be praised. Amen. Great. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have a fantastic day. I hope you enjoy your lunch, enjoy this lovely weather, and look after each other. These are difficult times. It's very difficult for lots of people to get their heads around the new routines, the places that we're allowed to go, the places we're not allowed to go, the things we're not allowed to do. But please keep to all the things that we're being told to. That's a great way to keep each other safe. And let's look out for each other. Let's keep each other in our prayers. And if there's anything particularly you want us to pray for, then go on the St James Church website, use the contact form, or find my Facebook feed, David Keane, and post me a message. And we'd love to pray for you, because that's another great way we can support each other. Thanks very much for watching. God bless you. I hope you enjoy the rest of the day and enjoy this lovely sunshine. Bye.